Who's the dumbest person you've ever met? A girl in my school was using a calculator on a test and typed in the math problem in wrong. She then proceeded to type syntax error as an answer. Back in high school, a guy named Kevin was arguing with me and anyone who would listen, saying that STDs are prevented by having sex. After about a minute of explaining to him what STD meant, I decided to just say, let's agree to disagree. But he didn't let it go. He pulled out a $50 bill from his wallet and bet me that he was right. After he looked it up, the crowd mentality forced him to pay up. TL. Dr. Dumb high school student bet me $50 that STDs are prevented by having sex. My psych class. One girl asked, is eye color a behavior? Not really stupid. More WTF. But she also said she wanted to have a pet baby. Not wanting a pet. Or a baby. A pet baby human. It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects. But 99,999% of the time they are keen on something. They might not understand how to identify a noun or what theme is, but they somehow know how to make a mean plate of nachos. You learn pretty quick to not judge fish for their tree climbing ability. Yeah, no, I thought this was the rule when I was teaching until I met Kevin. Kevin isn't his real name, but it doesn't matter because he can't spell it anyway. Kevin was a student of mine during my last year of teaching. He came to my classroom with very little to show for his academic past. He had moved a few times and thus was missing a lot of typical test scores that we used to try and ballpark their ability. Don't worry, it was a ballpark. We didn't make major decisions until we actually had a chance to talk and work with a student for a bit. I thought that's fine. I'll just do some one-on-one with Kevin and see what's up. One-on-one with Kevin was like conversing with someone who'd forgotten everything in a freak, if not impossible, amnesia incident. There was no evidence that he had learned anything past the 2nd grade, and now he was in 9th grade. Flabbergasted. I figured we needed to get more serious with this. If he was going to be in my class, I needed to know why and how. I decided to meet with him, his guidance counselor, his parents, and another teacher to see what was really going on. This is where it all became clear. It was by some incredible fluke that his family hadn't been wiped off the face of the earth years ago. Odds are his entire heritage was based on blind luck and some type of sick divine intervention that saves his family every time a threat presents itself. Kevin was the genetic pinnacle of this null achievement. Even my instructional lead, a woman who could find a redeeming tray in a Balrog, failed to see any reason this kid or his family should be alive today. So here's a list of events that made it abundantly clear that God exists and he's laughing uncontrollably. Kevin frequently forgot when/where class was. On more than one occasion, I had to retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin ate an entire 24-pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day. This is 9th grade. I have no idea where he got crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me, his English teacher. This was a public school. When I gave it back to Kevin, voided, to give to his dad with a brief note explaining that this is a public school, Kevin got in trouble for trying to spend it at 711 after school. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire. Twice, Kevin threw his lunch at the school resource officer and tried to run away. He ran into a door and insisted it wasn't him. Kevin stole my phone during class. I called it. It rang. He denied that it was ringing. Not that it wasn't his. Not that he did it. No. He denied that the phone was actually ringing. He tried it 3 times before the end of the year. Kevin called the basketball coach a method-acting bitch during gym basketball tryouts were that afternoon. Kevin tried out. It didn't go well. Kevin's mom could never remember which school he went to. She missed several meetings because she drove to other schools, none of which he ever went to. Kevin tased himself in the neck before a football game. Kevin kept a bottle of orange Kool-Aid in his backpack for about 4 months. He thought it would turn into alcohol. He drank it during homeroom and threw up. Kevin said the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. The high school was 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot. Kevin stole another student's iPhone and tried to sell it back to them. Kevin didn't understand that his grade was dependent on tests, quizzes, homework, classwork, and participation. Kevin finished his first semester with a 3% average. He tried to bribe me with $11. Kevin spit on a girl and said you should get out of those wet clothes. The girl was the Spanish student teacher. Kevin didn't know dogs and cats were different animals. Kevin tried to download porn onto a computer in the library at the circulation desk. While he was logged on, Kevin asked a girl to prom. He was in 9th grade and freshmen don't go to prom by asking for her phone number and then texting her his address. Kevin got gum in his hair constantly. Kevin regularly tried to cheat on assignments by knocking the pile over, grabbing one before I had picked them all up, and then writing its name on it wherever there was room. Kevin had several allergies, but neither his parents nor he could remember what they were. They were very concerned that the holiday party, it's high school, we don't have those, would have peanuts. When they finally got a doctor's note, he was allergic to amoxicillin. Kevin and his parents took a trip to Nassau. How the duck did they even get airline tickets? And forgot all their luggage at home. I didn't believe him when he told me until I talked to him mom, who told me first thing when I saw her at the B weekly meeting. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident. I can only assume God was looking the other way that day. I knew a guy who shot up peanut oil to slow the flow of blood to his brain, to keep him in a constant state of being high. He's dead now, not from the peanut oil. Drug overdose a few years later. I recently taught a college student how to add 4 numbers together. The guy who wound up wanting to fight me because I was explaining to him that calamari was Italian for squid. He insisted people do not ever eat squid. The delightful conversation with a man who insisted all zebras in Africa are extinct, although I had just returned from there with photographic evidence from just 2 weeks before. I had to explain to a girl that penguins were not fish. I had to explain to another girl who I told this story to why the first girl was not correct. Brother's girlfriend. Did you know Poland was the only country not affected by World War II? Apostrophe. Hitler wasn't a bad guy. They just gave him the wrong job. Apostrophe. I like cows. They're cute and they have big eyes. But I don't like horses. They're big and they look like cows. Apostrophe. Wine that comes in plastic is fancier than wine that comes in glass bottles. Because plastic has more technology. Apostrophe. As my brother is cooking her a filet mignon, she looks at the steak in the pan for a minute before asking, "Is that the whole fish?" Apostrophe. A girl in my class believed that Neanderthals ate ice and cheese. Bonus, she didn't know eggs came from chickens. She thought they were manufactured in a factory. I worked with this girl last summer who was beyond dumb. At first it was amusing, but then it just got really sad. We were talking about Nelson Mandela being really sick. This was in June, and she said, "Well, I sure hope she'll be okay. Her music is so good." She thought WWII was between America and Africa. She thought potatoes could only grow in America, and when asked what her boyfriend's name was, she said, "I can't really pronounce it, so I just call him Mike. He spells it like Michael." I know a girl who wrote a paper about how polar bears only live in Poland. I saw a guy try to plug a 3.5mm headphone jack into a USB port once. Not accidentally or anything. He actually spent a good minute working it out. Hey, don't judge. Maybe he was real stoned. A girl in class said, "Wait, I thought pork chops came from chickens." My friend had it made into a t-shirt. Almost forgot about my college roommate. She once missed the first 3 exits to a city because she forgot where she was going. She once told me she would never breastfeed her children because it would hurt too much to poke the holes. When asked how she thought animals nursed their young, she said, "Well, don't they just gnaw the ends off?" Apostrophe. Edit to at. She also got into a drunken knockdown fight in the street with another girl over a gay guy. There was a girl in my high school who thought rhinos were the last remaining dinosaurs. Oh, and she was shocked when she found out that rice came from plants. Smart girl, that one. I know a girl who genuinely believes that gorillas and giraffes are not real and the ones at the local zoo are just people in costumes. Had a roommate who was about 6 months late on rent. It's a 10-month lease and we're in month 8. They're threatening to sue us. He got a tuition refund. $700. 2 months rent. He goes to play poker with it. Despite our constant pleas not to. Doubles up. He shows us the $1. 400. Because he's dumb like that. This is Saturday night. Office is closed Sunday. I go to work Saturday night. And then work a long shift Sunday. Feeling good. Monday after classes. He comes in. First question. Did you pay the rent? Apostrophe. Bumbling stumbling excuses. I paid off some credit card balances and some other money I owed my parents. So how much did you give the complex? None. Apostrophe. Blew my ducking lid. Almost punched him right then and there. I will bet every penny to my name that he went back to the tables Sunday night and lost it all. Somehow he came up with the money though. Had a classmate in 8th grade who legitimately thought that the ocean had no bottom. Our teacher showed a diagram of the deepness of the ocean, and she just couldn't grasp it. I don't know how you get all the way to 8th grade without learning that the ocean doesn't just drop off into nothing. This guy in my history class once asked, "Didn't Hitler die from breast cancer?" Apostrophe. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.